You seem like you could be around us without getting killed. Okay then. Shall we get going? Lilynette?
Get ready. It's on.
Just preparing for the hunt. Let's keep going. I see. There's more.
My feelings towards Rebirth of Souls is no secret. For anyone that hasn't watched my prior video on the game, to summarize, I don't like it. And when you look into the community, it seems like a lot of people don't have strong positive opinions towards it either. A lot of issues I have with the game can be fixed with some patches, but at the rate of which Tamsoft is moving, those patches won't be here anytime soon, and that's what I wanted to discuss today. The idea that this game may not be salvageable. First things first, let's talk about the lack of updates lately. As of recording this video, the last major update was over a month ago on April 11th. It did fix a lot of character issues, but it didn't do anything else. For instance, they patched out 𝐒𝐥𝐬𝐞𝐫𝐞, 𝐿𝐼𝐳, but failed to do anything about the issues plaguing the grabs. And when you look at their online fix, they basically do nothing at all. Now, I want to be fair since I adore both Bleach and Tamsoft. I can acknowledge that just because they haven't released a patch in a month, doesn't mean we aren't getting one eventually. I think it's fair to say that the game has so many issues that the more time they take, the better. In a lot of ways, the game feels like it was released unfinished and we were all the playtesters. So much of this could have been avoided had they done an open beta and taken player feedback, but for one reason or another, Bandai couldn't be bothered, so here we are. With that in mind, Tamsoft would have a lot to work on, not just for individual characters, but the entire game's design, its core mechanics and integral systems. They'll have to reevaluate and change so much just to make the game feel finished. But another problem is we know they're still working on the DLC characters, right? None of which had released or had any sort of teaser trailer yet. It's safe to assume Unohana will be the first one available and she's probably almost done. But the issue is, I'm 90% sure that this is what Bandai Namco is telling Tamsoft to focus on. Knowing Bamco, they're in no rush to get patches out since they aren't going to make any money off the patches. A part of me feels like this game is so fundamentally flawed that by the time those patches do come around, it'll be too little too late. Games like this need a decent amount of worthwhile offline and online content to maintain a healthy player base. But this game lacks in both areas. I've gone over my issues with the offline in the prior video, and since I know none of those issues are going to get fixed, I wanted to focus on the online. Today was the first time I played the game online since around April 15th, back when I got the Platinum Trophy, and it's just as toxic as ever. The matchmaking is still abysmal, it takes entirely too long to find matches, the matches you do find will 9 times out of 10 have red bars, the player base is slowly dying due to the lack of updates, content, and game modes, and there's no crossplay. It's like the online mode was designed for as few people as possible. Even when you do reluctantly accept those red bar connections, chances are you'll just disconnect anyway. Even if neither player quits, the game will just decide it can't handle it and end your match prematurely. If it doesn't disconnect, then it's a 50-50 chance you'll either have the worst stutter and frame rate of all time, an input delay that would make FromSoft quiver in fear, or both. It's honestly unbelievable how little effort and maintenance has gone into the online functionality. I don't think the gameplay is good enough to warrant the headache you'll inevitably endure. Whether you agree or disagree with me about the overall quality of the game, the objective truth is the online needs fixing. And that brings me back to the point I made in the previous video. There's nothing to do in the game once you beat it. There's no offline content outside of the story, mission mode sucks, and the online is virtually unplayable to this very day. At this rate, by the time it is fixed, if it gets fixed, other and better games will have already hit the market. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen that image floating around about how Brave Souls has more concurrent players than Rebirth of Souls, at least on Steam. But I don't feel like that's a fair comparison. Brave Souls has been out for years, like years, okay? And it's free, meaning the most casual fans can pick it up without having to invest. Meanwhile, Rebirth of Souls is a relatively unfinished and unpolished product that notoriously had a pretty bad PC launch, all while charging full price. I feel like even if Rebirth of Souls was a better game with a better PC port, Brave Souls will still outshine it in its players. Like, it's free. I mean, hell, do you think Sparking Zero has more players than Dokkan Battle? I know for a fact Fate Grand Order has more players than Fate Samurai Remnant, but that game is actually good. The Brave Souls comparison just isn't fair to me. I'm sure it would have been like that anyway. But with that being said, I think it does go to show how Bandai more or less squandered the opportunity for this game to be bigger than it is. At this point, audiences have made up their mind. Either you moved on or you're still waiting for the DLC and patches. But I highly doubt anyone who moved on will come back just for a couple characters. The patches will have to be meaningful and not just whatever this shit was. But even then, why bother? I can't and won't speak for an entire community, but I myself feel like I got my money's worth. I played the entire game, played every character, played with some friends, and got the Platinum Trophy. The things I want fixed are still an issue 2 months after release, and the social media accounts have gone completely silent. Despite how much I love Bleach, I feel no obligation to wait around. I paid for an unfinished product, still played it for 60 plus hours, and instead of waiting on it to get better, I think I'll just move on. The genre itself has plenty of other options. Bleach has many more fun games, funnily enough, all of which go over the exact same arcs, and Tamsoft has made way better. I think it's safe to say I'm officially done with Rebirth of Souls. I don't even feel compelled to wait around for the DLC characters, and mind you, the DLC characters got leaked, so I already know who they are, and I don't care to play as any of them. But that's just me. As always, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. I am curious about how you guys are feeling towards Rebirth of Souls. You know, I kind of built this channel on Rebirth of Souls. If it wasn't for this game, I wouldn't have revived this channel. I wouldn't have gone and played all those Bleach games. I wouldn't have engaged with the Bleach community as much as I do now. I wouldn't have gained as many subscribers as I have now. Like, I owe a lot to Rebirth of Souls, I do. So I feel a little bad turning on it, but it's just not good. And I don't have it in me to wait around for it to maybe be good someday. But again, that's just me. If you like the game, more power to you. I'm not trying to tell you how to feel about the game. Hell, if you do love it, I want to hear why. Let me know why. Let's have a meaningful adult conversation about it in the comments. Now, before I close out, I wanted to quickly address some ridiculous comments I got in the last Rebirth of Souls video. Here's this one saying that my negativity is why developers don't put out new content and how we should just be grateful for a product. Respectfully, this was just an incredibly stupid comment. Mind you, if this user got their way, Rebirth of Souls wouldn't have any patches at all. I wanted to highlight this one just to remind everyone that these are products that we are paying for. A product that costs $60 to $100+ depending on the version you get. You are absolutely within reason to vocalize your distaste for a product you spent money on and cannot refund. The developers got their pay. We have no obligation to act like the game is perfect when they already have our money for something they themselves didn't finish before shipping out. This next comment is less stupid but just as ridiculous, saying that the game has issues but those issues don't make the game mediocre. Firstly, by literal definition, this game is of moderate quality at best. The issues it has are intrusive and off-putting. They aren't issues you can just ignore and play around. If you actively enjoy the game's combat and want to play online with others, your experience will be held back by the game's design. The disconnects, lack of modes, egregious input delay, and horrible matchmaking are all components you have to deal with just to maybe enjoy a single match. It's not an opinion. That's how the game is. Maybe you have a lot of patience and can tolerate that more than others, and that's fine. You do you. But your tolerance is not synonymous with the game's quality. It's okay to admit something you like isn't good. I like Sonic 06. Trust me, you'll be fine. As always, I want to give a huge thanks and shout out to my Arrancars. To anyone that's not part of the Arrancar army yet, go ahead and hit that join button and get access to some cool perks. Thank you all for watching as always, and yeah, I'll catch you guys whenever.